Hi, my name is Amber Taylor, and I will be talking to you about human resource management in the United States. In 1958, the term human capital was studied in the written works of Jacob Menser, also known as the father of modern labor economics. Today's modern definition of human capital has developed over the remainder of the 20th century to represent the economic value placed on the attributes of the labor market: knowledge, work experience, skills, and potentials. It has become the source of competitive advantage among competitors in similar markets. In order to use human capital efficiently, it is critical for the human resource management of any business to develop strategic plans for discovering qualified personnel, developing the talent and knowledge within the organization, and maintaining a retentive labor force. Talent acquisition of qualified employees is an important process that can lead to the success of a business. According to Catherine Taylor, a former human resource professional, some of the greatest assets in the quest for strong candidates to fill open positions are current employees. This is an example of internal recruitment, which provides for a higher likelihood of discovering potential compatible recruits because employers trust that their current skilled employees will only recommend someone with the competence and the skill set that are vital for success and as well as growth. Otherwise, it will reflect negatively upon those employees. This pie chart shows the breakdown of internal recruitment. Today, many employers are reaching out to the job market by means of the web, making electronic recruiting or e-recruiting one of the top innovative electronic commerce approaches to satisfy a job vacancy. Recruiting software services such as Indeed, Career Builder, Monster, and LinkedIn deliver cheaper, quicker, and more convenient employment solutions for both recruiters seeking talent and people seeking employment. Training Magazine's 2012 industry training report showed that training businesses have fallen 55.8 billion, decreasing by 6.5% of 3.9 billion since 2011. However, managing talent is process that is essential for the growth of businesses. Organizations must continue to invest in its personnel by initiating development progress to allow for the opportunity for more responsibilities, promotions, and leadership roles. In early 2013, Procter & Gamble was globally recognized by Chief Executive Magazine as the #1 company for leaders. The CEO of Procter & Gamble, Bob McDonald, stated that in order to tap the full potential of all employees, we have developed a rigorous and disciplined approach to leadership development at every level of the company. Maintaining effective performance management permits managers to assess the abilities of the employees. Valuable evaluations should measure workers' daily actions with the business and its objectives. Effective goals should be specific, have clear expectations of the results with headlines, and quantitative and qualitative measures. Many companies implement a pay-for-performance compensation strategy to create incentives for employees to achieve the organization's goals. Repeated studies have proven that organizations with effective performance management have more successful outcomes. For instance, Dr. Mark Houston, professor of human resource strategy at Rutgers University, has reported on several advantages of proper compensation strategy execution: turnover reduction, profit growth per personnel, additional sales of per personnel, and increases in the market value per employee. The business cycle also involves maintaining terminations, which include quits, fires, layoffs, retires, deaths, disabilities, and relocations of the workforce. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 4.4 million total terminations were reported at the end of August 2013. The condition of the labor market should be held in consideration because voluntary turnover rates have decreased due to the decline of the economy. However, studies show that 54% of the labor force is expected to pursue new employment when the economy recovers. The EEOC stands for Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which is responsible for enforcing federal laws related to discrimination. Employers cannot discriminate if an employee complained of discrimination, filed a charge of discrimination, or participated in an employment discrimination investigation or lawsuit. The EEOC investigates, assesses allegations, attempts to resolve, and sometimes files lawsuits on behalf of individuals. The Patent Protection and Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, was implemented in March of 2010. However, all the provisions will not go into effect for another 10 years. Some of its characteristics are everyone receives health care regardless of pre-existing conditions or social status. Policy providers cannot charge more for pre-existing conditions, and is for all individuals who do not have employer-sponsored insurance in Medicare, Medicaid, or any other state program. And it will be funded through a variety of channels, including the healthcare insurance tax for individuals and families who forego health coverage, and an increase in Medicare tax for incomes above $200,000. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was derived to end racial segregation in employment, education, and social arenas. Title II was the most controversial because the 1883 civil rights cases said that the 14th Amendment did not reach to private discrimination in public. The Heart of Atlanta Motel versus the United States was upheld by the Supreme Court as a constitutional application of the Commerce Clause, which allows Congress to regulate interstate commerce, which validated Title II of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The Civil Rights Act of 1991 was an amendment to the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which gave individuals could now obtain jury trials, when before jury trials were only possible under the EPA, which is Equal Pay Act, or the ADEA Act, which is Age Discrimination and Employment Act. And it now gave a maximum award of combined damages is $300,000 for employers who employ more than 500 employees, and it also provides protection to members of Congress, and the burden of proof switched to the employer. The Americans with Disability Act is enforced by the EEOC, Department of Transportation, and the Department of Justice. It prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities in employment, transportation, public accommodation, communication, and governmental activities. The University of Tennessee is a sort of tradition in the state of Tennessee. It is a leader in education and employment. 81% of employees are proud to work at UT. They have their own set of policies that provide for a wonderful work environment. Because UT is such a large institution, the HR department must stay on top of all legal regulations to ensure they are in compliance with the law. There are tons of laws that regulate the work environment and what applies to a specific institution. All of the laws that were mentioned in this presentation apply to UT. They employ thousands, they cater to thousands of students, and it is imperative to know how federal legislation affects their campus. According to author Alan Price, the practice of human resource management is founded on 10 critical principles, in which he highlights in his 10C model. To highlight a few, we will elaborate on comprehensiveness, control, coherence, competence, and commitments. Comprehensiveness requires that all components employees need in order to work be properly managed. Control is exercised effectively when productivity and quality are attained. Coherence is achieved when the mission and vision of the business are aligned and met by the efficient management of its human resources, meaning that the focus are on the company needs and employees' abilities. Because employees are important assets and a source of competitive advantage for a firm, it is important to make sure that they are skilled and equipped with the resources to further develop their capabilities in order to be competent. In order for commitment to be achieved, HR must be able to keep employees motivated so as to assure that the goals and objectives of the company are met. A study conducted by the Society for Human Resource Management in 2008 sampled members of the Society for Human Resource Management, which consisted of 2,744 survey responses from HR professionals. Responses showed that staffing, employment and recruitment, training and development, employee benefits were identified as top 3 most critical functions of human resource. The purpose of human resources is the same regardless of the varying sizes of organizations. However, as the size increases, the demands and challenges for HR are also impacted in the same manner. This graph depicts how much HR departments feel they contribute to the functions and value of the organization in terms of the recruitment and selection processes. Outstanding is when certain HR duties have been elected to be assumed by an external source such as a vendor of HR services. It has transformed into a multi-billion-dollar industry over the past decade that is still growing. Outsourcing is the administration of choice when a company desires to lower costs and focus more on their core business strategies. Insourcing is when HR operates from within the organization by formalizing HR departments. In this approach, insourcing assumes a more direct role when engaging with employees. Face-to-face communication is maintained and oftentimes can be more effective when resolving HR problems. However, it can also be the most costly of the two approaches. And these are a list of our references that we use in this presentation.